Okay, so we're discussing paper one. So first of all, okay, an animal cell is, or plant cell is given, not an animal cell. So after staining with iodine solution, what are the colors of the cell wall and the starch grains? So it won't be stained. Okay, it will stay orange brown. And what about the starch grains? Would turn blue black. So the answer is C. Okay, xylem vessels are cells that have become adapted for conduction and support. Which two adaptations help in these? What is there for conduction and what is there for support? They're dead. Okay. And for support, lignin. Okay, they have lignin, but it's not given over here. So what else can be there? Woody cell wall. So our answer would be B. Okay. लिंक अब मैंने पिन किया हुआ है ग्रुप के अंदर जी. Okay, what is diffusion? Down the concentration gradient. Next one, at the rate of nitrate ion absorption by root hair cell were measured at the different soil concentration. At X, the concentration nitrate soil is same as in the cell. Okay. Which graph show the rate of absorption varies with nitrate concentration in the soil? Now this graph is tough. Okay. Yes. So X is the equilibrium point. Okay. Now equilibrium point means that the concentration is same as compared to the outside. But still, we say we say that the mineral ions are transported with the help of which movement? Active transport. So definitely it is going to take in the nitrate ions even after the equilibrium point. So which graph is that? B is not there because B is becoming constant. So B is not the answer. Okay? This is not the answer. Okay. It can. This can't be there, okay? It's not possible. This is also not possible. The starting point is X. So at the start, the concentration is not zero. So we have said it has some concentration. So the only correct answer is A. Okay. Amylase is the enzyme, sorry, that breaks down starch to maltose. Students set up an experiment to investigate the effect of different temperatures on, like, for to check the effect of amylase on starch solution, and the amount of starch is measured after 30 minutes that is left. Which graph would the student expect? Okay. What do you think? Would this starch decreases or increases? Would decrease. So the only correct one is C. This is the only correct answer because in every A, B, C it's increasing. So we say reactant decrease, but the product increase. Okay, which statement identify the optimum temperature? Oh, sorry. D. This is the highest rate of enzyme activity. Okay, a plant has leaves with both green and white areas. One of its leaf is partly covered with aluminum foil, which blocks light. So, what do you think? Which part would give a blue-black color when tested with iodine solution? Okay. Exactly. So the aluminum foil is not in question. It means the light is blocked over there. Okay. Yeah. It could be X and Y. Now which area is green? Which is capable of producing the, so only Y is the answer. So it's Y only. Okay. Which row shows the effect of nitrate ions on the plant growth and what is the reason? The growth will definitely increase because it's involved in the production of protein, not the chlorophyll. For chlorophyll, which mineral is used? Magnesium. Okay, the experiment was set up for and left for 30 minutes. So we have a, I guess, a partially permeable membrane. Okay, this is a permeable membrane to sugar and water, but not permeable to starch and protein. So yes, it's a partially permeable membrane and water is given, and this has a solution of starch and amylase. So starch, amylase break down starch into glucose, and glucose would definitely move out, right? So let's say glucose move out. What colors would be obtained with the Benedict reagent? Okay, it's three, all three are given. Okay, Benedict would give a positive result. Okay, okay, it shows a positive result. What about biuret? It has proteins, but it has no enzyme for protein. So that would be negative, right? Negative mean the blue color. And what about iodine solution? Would starch be there? No, because it's broken down. So it's also negative. So our answer would be B. Is it so? Okay. Sometimes gallbladder become infected and have to be surgically removed. Which function would be effect if it has been removed? Okay, the function of gallbladder is to store bile and bile emulsify fats. Okay, so what would be affected? Exactly, because there won't be enough uh, digestion of lipids, so there won't be production of glycerol. Okay, what is an example of assimilation? So there are five steps in the human nutrition. First one is ingestion, number two is digestion, number three is absorption, number four is assimilation, and number five is egestion. So assimilation, what does assimilation do? After digestion or absorption, what happens? These make up the building of proteins. After absorption, amino acids are again going to be converted in protein. Even glucose is converted into glycogen, but here it's oppositely written. Okay, otherwise the glucose is also converted into glycogen. Okay, students set up an experiment to investigate the rate of transpiration in plant. Okay, and they're using balance to check whether the water evaporated or not. If there is transpiration, definitely the uh, molecules or water particles would move out. Okay. Okay, a student set up two identical set of apparatus. One is given 20 degrees Celsius at a bright light and other room is in the dark. So which is the correct, like where would respiration be higher and where would it be lower? Yeah, transpiration is for transpiration, right? Okay. There would be very less. Yes, it would be A. Next one, what is the main cause of water moving up to the leaves in xylem vessel? What takes the water upward? Does transpirational steam. Okay, good, excellent. Evaporation from the walls of mesophyll cells that actually results in the transpiration. Okay, okay, let me give you one more like thing. Maybe students get it wrong evaporation of the epidermis of leaf, so they may think that it is transpiration, but transpiration would happen only if there is an evaporation. If there is no evaporation, there won't be any transpiration. So evaporation is one of the leading cause that pulls the water upward, that creates a transpirational pull. Okay. Okay, then let's move to 14. Which blood vessel directly linked to the heart and transport deoxygenated blood? One is, we have discussed this in the previous paper, vena cava, and pulmonary artery. Okay, the diagram shows the right side of human heart and the ventricle is relaxed. I mean, this one is relaxed. Which row describe the position of valve X and Y when the ventricle contract? So when it contract, the X would be, so it's a atrioventricular valve, closed. Okay, atrioventricular, ventricular, close, and Y would open. So our answer would be B. Okay. Which component of the blood stimulate the formation of fiber to help seal a wound? Okay. This paper is quite similar to the paper 4 2. Quite similar. Okay. So our answer would be platelets, B. Okay. The 17th question is related to, okay, carbon dioxide is produced by, okay, these are the products. This side has products and this one has reactants. Products and reactants. So which type of respiration is this? Though I have told you half of the answer. Aerobic respiration. So हम सीधा आतिफ साहब के पास जाते हैं ना, जिन्होंने हमें इंटरनेट अरेंज करके दिया है. हाँ, विल गो डायरेक्टली. हाँ, ये बस मेरी क्लास 5 मिनट में ख़त्म हो रही है ना, तो फिर मैं आ रही हूँ. Okay. Next question is, 4 flasks are sterilized and set up as shown. Okay. One has a dried yeast and water. The other has a dried yeast and water at 20 degrees Celsius. Third one has a sugar but at 4 degrees Celsius, and the last one has sugar but at 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, I don't know what's, wait. So where would be the anaerobic respiration would be there after 1 hour? Okay, it's an easy one. D, because it needs some temperature. So it would be D. The graph shows the depth and the rate of breathing. Okay, so this is how the waves would convert or waves would change when the breathing rate is high. Okay, there are 4 different levels of activity, and which graph shows the individual being most active? It would be B, since the number of waves are more. So I haven't seen the other options, but B is the answer now. Okay. Okay, which graph shows the changes in the concentration of urea and glucose in the blood during kidney dialysis? Okay, this is not part of these syllabus, but glucose would remain same. Okay, so the answer would be rather B or C. So yes, glucose remains same, but urea would decrease. So our answer would be C. Okay, structure of skin is given. Which structures are involved in maintaining a constant body temperature? Yes, there would be veins, blood vessels involved. Okay, what else? Okay, receptors would definitely, the, all would be involved. The receptors would carry it. So I think all are involved. Then let's move to 22.1. The graph shows change in the person's body temperature against time. So here we have for 60 minutes is around 47, but in period number 1 it increases, and in period number 2 it decreases and come back to normal, like around 37. Okay, so what could cause the change in the body temperature in period 1 and 2? So in period 1 the temperature increases, right? So what causes the, okay, sorry, yeah, it could be vigorous exercise, and then the temperature come back to its normal. So what brings sweating? So answer is C. Okay, brain is no longer part of our syllabus, let's skip it. Okay, then this question is related to eye. Okay, which diagram shows how a distant object is focused on the retina? Okay, you must have heard, like read this in physics as well. Like what would happen to the, okay, the image is formed as the at the retina, so it can be A and it can be B. Look at the direction. It would be A, yes, because the light would be coming from different sources. Okay, so it would be A. Which condition caused an increase in blood glucose level concentration? Okay, it could be diabetes. Yes, it could be diabetes, but what else? Let me just read it one more. Which condition causes that increased blood glucose concentration? Oh my god, it's in easy. D, adrenaline. Yes. Okay, again, the bones are not included. Let's move to 27. Which short term effect is caused by excessive consumption of alcohol? C. The nerve impulse basically blocks. Okay. Which row shows the characteristics of viruses? They don't do anything once they are outside the body. So what can be correct? They inside this host cell. So it can be B or C. Okay. Oh wait. Yeah, it's B. Okay. The graph shows the mass of penicillium grow in a fermenter and the mass of antibiotics. So penicillin is produced from this one. When is the penicillium producing antibiotic most rapidly? Where there is a rapid increase. So at what day the increase is quite rapid? Like where the slope is quite high. Day 5. Correct. The diagram shows a carbon cycle. Okay. Fossilization increases the carbon dioxide. So W is burning of fossil fuel is combustion. So it can be A or B. Let's move to other part. The decomposers also release carbon dioxide. Respiration. So we get our answer. It's A. Oh, it's A. Okay. 31. An organism such as mosquito can pass a disease causing organism from one host to another. What do we call it? A vector, because it carries the pathogen, the plasmodium, but it's not the disease causing agent. What increases the in the long term as a result of tropical deforestation? Like you are removing the a tree from the atmosphere, so what would be the first effect? Soil erosion, because it can no longer hold the soil, so the layer washed off. 33, which graph shows how the amount of DNA in cell changes when the cell divide? Okay, this is interesting. So first we have read that DNA replicates, and then there would be Like a reduction in number of chromosome, or the chromosome number remains same? Yeah, it remains same. Yes. So yes, it get doubled. It would increase. It would be C or D. It would be D, because the number of chromosome at the start and in the like parent cell and in the daughter cell would be same. Okay. 34. The diagram shows the male reproductive system. Which part contains sperm? Okay, we did some question related to this already. Urethra. Okay, some statement about the human immunodeficiency virus is written. Okay, which statements are not correct? Let's talk about it. Okay. Uh, it can spread. It can be spread by. Okay. Reduced condoms. Yes. Pass through placenta. Yes. It is spread by coughing or sneezing. No. It is same as AIDS. Yes. No. No. Okay. Because it causes AIDS. Wait. Okay. It is transmitted in blood and semen. Yes. It can be reduced by screening donated tests. Yes. So the answer is D, 3 and 4. Okay. This diagram shows a developing fetus in the uterus. What is liquid X called? Okay. Easy. I'm not a flirt. Which row is an example? Which row shows example of continuous and discontinuous variation? So continuous variation which has different ranges, while the discontinuous one is the one which have like the distinct difference in between the phenotypes. Okay. Yeah, it's A. The continuous one is height and the discontinuous one is blood group. Okay, 31, a pedigree diagram is given. Okay, we are almost done with the paper. The diagram shows a family tree for the inheritance of eye color. The allele for brown eye is dominant, let's say it's capital B, and blue eye is recessive. Okay, capital B and then small b. Okay, which people must be heterozygous for eye color? That they are transferring the blue color in the next generation. Yeah, let's say is this, and let's say yeah, definitely 4 and 5. What about 3? What do you think? I guess this would also be carrier. It must be heterozygous. So it's 3, 4, and 5. Okay, 39. Okay, easy. The number of wheat plant in the grass field was counted at monthly intervals. Okay, this was the number of wheat plants. Since August 2020, like from here, the field was mown regularly and used as a football pitch. From this information, which two weeds are best adapted to survive? We still have the number. So if we talk about the ground cell, the number decreases, right? And what about dock? Yes, it decreases as well. But which weeds survive already? And dandelion, because the amount is still high. So these one are well adapted. Last one. Okay. What is the correct sequence? First of all, human gene is extracted. Then there is plasmid. Okay. 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 Yes. The last would be this. So our answer is D. So we are done with this, I guess. Done with this paper.